Instead of aiming for perfection, I aim for consistency. And I used to think that consistency meant perfection. And that is absolutely not the case. Consistency actually means more often than not. If I fall off the wagon one day, it means I come back. It means I'm consistent, not perfect. This is Bold Intentional Life, the podcast for moms who are ready to stop sleepwalking through life. Hi, I'm your host, Jessie Larson, and I know how easy it is to get caught up in the daily grind, running on autopilot, feeling overwhelmed, and wondering if this is all there is. But here, we're about taking back control, realigning with what matters most, and making every moment count. You deserve more than just going through the motions. It's time to step into a life of purpose, balance, and fulfillment, one small, impactful change at a time. Each week, we'll dive into real talk, practical tips, and empowering conversations to help you shift from just getting by to fully showing up for yourself, your family, and your dreams. No more waiting. Your bold, intentional life starts now. Welcome back to Bold Intentional Life. We are trying something new today. We're going to see if it works. As you can tell, if you are watching on YouTube, I am in my car, which I am here a lot. And I really needed to get this episode done and out. And I've got some time. It's actually snowing and hailing. I'm going to show you. We're going to tilt up. Like, you see, I am like snowed in the car. But we are going to record here and cross our fingers that it works and that the sound is okay. So let's dive in. Today, we're tackling something that has been an absolute game changer in my own life and a really awesome mindset shift. The mantra of more often than not. So the last episode was talking about the tiny habits that I have that help my house flow. I've mentioned this before. I mentioned it in the episode, but it doesn't mean that I am perfect at it. In fact, I'm a couple days behind on laundry right now. And this mantra of more often than not gives me the grace to be able to be human, to be able to play and flow within creating new systems for my family without feeling like I'm an absolute failure if I get behind a day, if it doesn't go perfectly, if I have to tweak something. More often than not gives me permission to have those systems, to know that they work really well for me. I've got that proof now because when I do them, life flows so easy, so effortlessly. And when I don't, shit kind of hits the fan. So I like telling myself more often than not, I've got it together. And it's okay to have grace. This has really helped me and helped anybody who has ever felt paralyzed by perfectionism or stuck in the cycle of all or nothing thinking. Hi, this episode is for you. So we're going to dive into why perfectionism is keeping you stuck, how your worth, because it comes down to worth a lot of times. Your worth has nothing to do with your productivity, and how embracing identity-based habits can help you to make real, sustainable progress in your systems, in your home, in your life. So let's ditch the pressure of perfection and lean into grace and growth. So let's talk about why perfectionism is keeping you stuck. Here's the hard truth. Perfectionism is not about high standards. It's about fear. Should we pause there for a minute and soak that in? Perfectionism is not about having high standards. It is about fear. It's the fear of failure. It's the fear of not being good enough, and the fear of that if you can't do something perfectly, it's better to just not do it at all. I've been there. I used to avoid starting new habits, and I didn't realize that it was because I was scared of not doing them perfectly. But as I've dived in and gotten curious and compassionate with myself, I really believe this to be true, right? I was terrified that it meant something about me, that if I tried something and I missed a day, it felt like it was proof. It was telling me, you're right, Jess, you're not disciplined enough. You're not capable enough. You're not type A enough to do this. And that reality is that mindset I had and that many of us have is rooted in the belief that our worth is tied to what we accomplish. But that is a lie. I know we know this deep down, but I'm going to tell you again because your worth is inherent. Your value as a person does not depend on what you get done, how many check marks you check off your to-do list. And when we begin to separate who we are from what we do, we create so much space for progress, not perfection. And we create space for growth. We create space for more self-love. We create space for compassion for ours, like just so much space when we can realize and separate who we are from what we do. So then let's talk about this mindset shift that I love so much, the power of the mantra more often than not. If you were on our weekly intention setting call this past Monday, I spoke about this. So you guys had a sneak peek into what I was talking about here on the podcast. And just as a side little slip in here, if you don't know what I'm talking about, every single Monday I host a free, quick 30-minute call to reflect on the week we had before, set intentions for the week ahead. It is such a great call. It's a very intimate call right now, which I love. I would love it to grow, but I also love having these personal conversations with just a handful of you. But if that's something that you want, a great start to your week, hop on these calls. I send out a weekly reminder every Sunday night and every Monday morning, just as a quick little like, hey, we're hopping on. So if you want that, shoot me a DM on Instagram, reply to an email, or, get in contact with me and I will get you the link to that. There's going to be a link actually down in the show notes. If you're listening right now, scroll down. There will be a link that says join the weekly call. You can sign up right there and you'll get the email reminder. Okay. After that little interruption, the power of more often than not, this mindset, along with many mindset shifts that I've had, has been a big shift for me. Something that changed a lot for me. Instead of aiming for perfection, I aim for consistency. And I used to think, up until very, very recently, that consistency meant perfection. And that is absolutely not the case. Consistency actually means more often than not, right? If I fall off the wagon one day, it means I come back. It means I'm consistent, not perfect. Not every single day, but more often than not. I think about a couple of years ago, I was trying to work out every single day leading up to like a vacation. I just had this goal and I wrote out, I had 100 days, I think, until that vacation. And I put a check mark on everyone that I did. And I missed a handful of days here and there, probably 15, maybe even 20 days total, which means if I miss 20 days, that if I focus just on that, like, oh my gosh, you missed 20 days. That is a lot. If I focus instead on what I did 80 days of consistency, right? And so instead of saying, did I do this perfectly? Did I show up every single day for 100 days? No, I didn't. But did I show up consistently? Did I show up more often than not? Absolutely. And that was a game changer for me. So when I focus on showing up when I can, 4 or 5 days out of the week instead of 7, I build momentum. I create habits that stick, and I release the shame that comes with missing a day or falling short or setting unrealistic expectations. I hopped on Google too because I wanted to know the science and the studies and the proof behind it, and they show consistent effort over time is far, 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 far more effective than perfectionist-driven intensity. That's from the Times. So that alone, right? Like it's that like 80-20 rule almost. And I use that as the perfect example that when you can show up more often than not, you're going to see great results. And that can be in every area of your life. That can be physical. That can be with your workouts. That can be with your nutrition. That can be in your relationships. That can be in your housework. Talking about our last episode, the 3 habits that you have to maintain a house and keep it flowing, healthy and happy. And, so everyone has all the things that they need and your house doesn't feel like a chaotic crapshoot all the time. more often than not is a mindset that'll help you get there. So I want to shift now and let's talk about identity-based habits. And this links together beautifully because it's within that same idea of shifting our mindset a little bit. So when we shift from outcome-based goals instead to identity-based habits, magic happens. So there's a book, it's a super popular book. A lot of you have probably read it, called Atomic Habits. James Clear explains in that book that true behavior change comes from focusing on who we want to become, not just what we do. So, for example, instead of I want to work out every day, you become the kind of person who moves her body regularly. Instead of I need a perfectly clean house, you become the kind of person who creates a peaceful environment. It's shifting into that identity more than just a checklist. And it's funny, I kind of use this for a little trick I shared on Instagram a little while ago, my cleaning lady hack, where I give myself a couple of hours and I tell myself that like I'm the hired cleaning person to come to my house and clean. And I take on like that almost alter ego, that identity. And I fly through cleaning and I get it really done. And I'm actually like a little bit more detailed because I'm not me doing it. I'm not the tired mom, trying to get the housework done. I'm the hired help. I'm the hired cleaner who gets to come and clean the house. And it's kind of that proof of when you take on that identity, it's so much easier to shift in and get those check marks off of your to-do list because you're just a person who does that. So when we focus on who we're becoming, who we want to be, that identity we want to embody, the pressure to check all the boxes kind of fades away because instead of chasing that high of checking off the boxes, we're building habits that just align. They align with our identity, and we kind of get to stop chasing the check marks on the to-do list, which is a really awesome place to be. Not to say that you can't still have a to-do list, because I know so many of us really love our to-do lists and our little check marks that we have. So I'm not trying to take that away from you if you love those. So, like I said, in the last episode, I talked about my 3 tiny habits that help me practice this more often than not. If you haven't listened yet, those habits that help keep my house running smoothly and help reduce my mental load are making my bed every morning, throwing in a load of laundry at night, and setting the timer so that it starts in the morning. That's important. And then running the dishwasher before bed. Do I do those perfectly every single day? I strive to more often than not, but no, I don't. I do them more often than not, and that consistency adds up to big results over time. It means that my house has a feel that we flow really well, but that there's days where, stuff happens. So how to let go of this perfectionism and how to embrace grace when you're trying to set up systems in your home, when you're trying to embody this new or different identity that you want, when you're trying to go for some goals. Here's what I want you to try. Number 1, focus on your identity. Think about that first. In our weekly calls, I'm always talking about the feeling that you want. Really get clear on who it is that you want to be. Is it a calm, present mom? Is it a woman who feels in control of her home? Is it someone who's got time blocks and systems down? Is it like whatever that is? What's your identity? What's that feeling you're going for? And start embodying and identifying as that person right now. You are her. Now, number 2 is to set the bar very low. Set that bar low on purpose. I have so many like proofs of this working. It started with making my bed. I've had a friend who shared an awesome way that she lowered the bar for herself, and the things that she's been able to accomplish after she has set that bar crazy low has been incredible. Tiny habits work because they're easy and they build momentum. Again, we're aiming for progress, not perfection, and not unrealistic goals and unrealistic expectations, okay? Number 3, celebrate. Celebrate more often than not. If you show up 4 out of the 7 days, celebrate those 4 days. Do not focus on the 3 that you did not show up for. Okay? That's progress. That's winning. And you might be saying, okay, well, 4 out of 7 is a majority. So yeah, you could celebrate that. But what if, Jessie, what if, Jess, I only showed up 2 out of the 7 days? That's not great. That's for sure not worth celebrating. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, absolutely not. Because even though technically that's not more often than not, right? The ratio there is you didn't show up 5 days, you only showed up 2. You're still going to celebrate those 2 days. And then give yourself that thing of say, okay, maybe that goal that I was aiming for of 4 was a little too hard. So this next week, let's just aim for 2. Or, and you can get there. So even if you're not technically at more often than not, you can work your way up there because right now we're talking about progress. Again, progress, not perfection. Giving yourself that grace, giving yourself that room to flow as you grow. Okay. And number 4, I already said it, give yourself grace. I forgot to say number 4. You're not failing. You're growing. Growth is messy. It gets to be messy. Let it be messy without making it feel shameful. Okay. So if this episode is resonating with you, I would love to help you take it a step further. I would love to help you get clear on who it is you want to become, what the feeling is that you want. If you are stuck with systems and you're trying to figure out what in the heck habits you even need to actually help you in your life, that's my specialty. You can book a system strategy call with me at jessielarson.com/systems. You can book a one-on-one discovery call with me to see if coaching is something that you want. There are so many ways that I can step in and help you, be there with you, right? And I love, love, love seeing the changes. Honestly, coaching has been such an incredibly rewarding endeavor for me. And I wish I would have started sooner because it's been so rewarding for me to see the shifts and to see the changes and to see the progress, not the perfection. The messy growth, the progress is such a fun journey, for lack of a better word, to go on with you. So if you are interested in that, please, please, please reach out. Please hit the links below to get in contact with me. And you've got this. Remember, progress is progress, and it happens more often than not. It happens in the messy. It happens in the hard. Your worth is inherent. I hope you know that. It does not matter what you did or didn't do today. When we can separate, I'm going to go back to that. When we can separate who we are from what we do, that's incredible. So if nothing else today, offer yourself some kind compassion. And thank you so much for tuning in. If this was all you did today for your self-love and kindness and self-care, that is a huge win. It's taking time to listen to something uplifting and encouraging and empowering to you. So I want to just say thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking the time for yourself, and I'll see you next week.